The Blitz, sponsored by Mocse Credit Union, Western Motors, and Jura's Pizza Parlor.
Welcome to The Blitz. I'm Frankie Tovar. This is Ada Ruiz, and this is our Monday episode with coverage from the Turlock versus Buhach Colony game that went down on Friday at Joe Debbie Stadium. The first home game, the first true home game for Turlock at their home field all season long. It was 49-27. You would know that already if you watched our Saturday Night Highlights episode on Saturday.
But if you didn't watch it, go watch that. We're going to be here.
Shame on you. Go watch that right now.
We're not going anywhere. We're going to stay right here, and we'll just, wait for you.
Yeah, but if you did watch it, then you're in for a treat right now because we have more analysis, we have more highlights, and we even have interviews from coaches and players. Now, before we go into the interviews, let's talk a little bit about Turlock's defense because they were the backbone of that Friday night win. They controlled the line of scrimmage. They showed great lateral pursuit, and it was the defensive line in particular that really showed some stellar play.
Yeah, so when the defensive line dominates on any game as far as football is concerned, you're going to win games. Your chances of winning are going to increase, and we saw that with Turlock rushing. They nearly had close to 200 yards more rushing than Buhach for the entire game. They dominated. They keep this up. I really see them having tremendous success this year.
And it was that first half specifically that shone bright for the Turlock defense. They only allowed one touchdown, and that was on a botched field goal attempt. It was a broken play. It really kind of was a fluke, even though I know the players and the coaches on Turlock's side were disappointed to give up the score. And sticking with the defense, I want to give some love to that defensive line and the interior linebackers because they really played well. And Eddie, I know you're good with names, you know the personnel. Why don't you kind of give them some name recognition right now and shout them out?
Well, it's hard to remember every name, there's so many of you guys out there, but you got to give a lot of love to the veterans of that group. For sure, Juan Lopez, who really stand out this year every time I've watched him play so far. Mustafa Noel Johnson is a monster, especially when he's on. And then Dom Silva, when you have those three guys, I think in particular, playing 100% or top notch, you can't run against them. It's almost impossible.
That's a nasty trio. And Juan Lopez, he's one of the guys we interviewed. We also interviewed the offensive breakout star, I'd say, of the game, Dustin Grein. He did well. He had 3 touchdowns. He had an interception, and he had a fumble recovery. You can't play any better than that when it comes to high school football. And of course, we interviewed the head coach, James Peterson, the former Bulldog himself. They had a lot of interesting things to say about the win, about next week's game. So, hey, why don't we just jump right into the interviews right now?
Traditionally, we've struggled, I think, in our league openers. And I think tonight we just really wanted to make sure that we came out and had a substantial win. The kids performed. So we came out, pretty much executed the game plan that we wanted to execute. And I'm actually feeling pretty good about this week.
It was a big game, obviously opener of the Joe Debbie Stadium coming back.
Buhach's a good football team. And I think we just played better than them tonight.
They ran the fly sweep really well, and we stopped it pretty good this game. And we just thought that if we do that, then we're going to get the W, basically.
Every aspect right now, offense, defense, special teams is playing really well. We have a great kicker in Down Tilby. Danny Velasquez is leading the offense, and then you got Mustafa Noel Johnson and our linebacker Dominic Silva, leading the defense. So those guys are all doing their job. Being leaders.
We have a pretty strong line. They're starting to get their mojo. They're starting to get their momentum going together. So, our running backs are starting to work together with our line really good.
Came out with the W, and that's all that mattered. And now we just have to go next week and prepare for the next game.
Next week, looking at El Cap, I think we're back on the road, which is nothing new to us, and we just gotta get healthy and stay healthy and continue to play good football.
This game's in the past now. We're just going to keep working hard.
Honestly, I think if we just all come together as a team, we'll do good.
It's always great to hear what the players and coaches have to say because they played the game, they were in practice preparing for the game, so they know better than we can ever know what it took to get that win. Now, before we move forward with the show, let's recognize our sponsors. And first, we'll start with Western Motors right out of Merced. Western Motors is the prices that bring you in, but it's the quality that brings you back. They've been in business for more than 30 years. They have all the pre-owned cars you could ever want. Trucks, SUVs, coupes, you name it, they got it. Go visit them at their Merced location and see if you can find a sweet ride.
And Mocse Credit Union for the 3rd year in a row is with us. Thank you so much. They're awesome. If you guys need a toy loan, auto loan, home loan, any loan possible, visit Mocse Credit Union here in Turlock today.
And our third sponsor and the tastiest of them all is Jura's Pizza Parlor here in Turlock. They're a Turlock institution. They have delicious fries, delicious wings, and of course, delicious pizza. And if you go to Jura's during an NFL game, you can get a large pepperoni pizza for only $10. That's a heck of a value. I recommend it. Jura's Pizza Parlor in Turlock. Now, as far as overall stats go, it's no surprise Turlock dominated in that category. 478 yards to Buhach's 351. And where did Turlock do the best at? On the ground, running the ball. They have 368 rushing yards, while the Thunder only had 173. Now, a silver lining for Buhach, they did outgain Turlock through the air, passing 178 to 110 for Turlock, but what matters is that you execute the strongest part of your game, and Turlock did just that.
It's close to a perfect game, basically, for Turlock. The only thing they messed up on was those 2 missed field goals, and they had 90 penalty yards as opposed to Buhach's 25 yards. You know, but other than that, I think they played pretty great. That's something they can clean up for sure as the season goes on.
Yeah, and then the only thing on defense I would say is they gave up some big plays in the secondary. They did a good job of stuffing the Thunder, but every once in a while they would give up a big pass play or a nice long run. So if they can just shore that up and be super consistent, I see them making a run for the CCC championship this season. Now, next week, we're taking a trip out of the CCC. We're going to be covering Turlock Christian versus Stone Ridge Christian, and this will be in Merced, and it's TC's league opener.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one, too, against last season's section champions for D7. I mean, Stone Ridge Christian is the real deal. They dominated up front in the line last season. But you know what? Before we get into that, we got to give some love to Delhi and Pittman.
Yeah, there's some other games going on.
Yeah, they're still undefeated,
last week, there's
man.
undefeated teams. We have to give them some love.
Yeah.
Eddie, why don't you tell us a little bit about those two teams?
I will. So Delhi Hawks, so exciting. A 17-year slump of not being able to beat Mariposa. They crushed them last night, scoring 40-plus points and allowing, just 19, which was awesome. They improved to 4-0, which is so cool for them.
That's excellent. I know Rod is happy about that. Rod McCombs.
Absolutely, and they're just rolling. I feel like if they stay healthy, I mean, the sky's the limit for this Delhi team. I'm really excited for
Championship run, you think?
We'll see. Very, very capable. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
And then you take a look at Pittman, which I was covering that game against Merced, which was phenomenal. One of the craziest second half performances I've ever seen for high school football.
And of course,
no question
Merced,
about it.
reigning champions.
Oh yeah, reigning champions. Pittman hadn't won since 2011. That was the last time they beat Merced. They were able to stop that slump of nearly half a decade. And I mean, they're improving to 5-0. I'm excited for them, man.
And that was a tie game until the final seconds, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure Devin Bass came through with the big game winning play.
Oh, of course, 60-yard touchdown reception from Jacob Perez in the final 14 seconds to give them the go-ahead for the first time in the game. It was ridiculous. Shout out to Pittman. Great job, guys.
And of course, we'll be covering Delhi and Pittman down the road as the season progresses, so you don't want to miss those episodes. But again, next week, TC versus Stone Ridge Christian. You can find that at turlockjournal.com and on our YouTube channel. And of course, you want to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well to catch some sweet promos, video, and photo. So that's it for this episode, the Monday edition. I'm Frankie Tovar. This is Eddie Ruiz. Good night.